Not American, so take it or leave it. But Trump is clearly, to me, a Shabbat Shabbos Goy. Well, that's a good point. I mean, look, the thing is like I said before the election even happened, you know what you're getting with Trump. He's gonna be good on Israel. He sides with Israel. He likes Israel. He's pro, I almost said gay. He's pro Jew. He's pro Israeli. His dad built synagogues, apparently. He's a New York guy, so he's probably spent his he definitely has spent his entire life around Jews. He's super pro-Jewish. I wish I could personally go and sit down with him and introduce him to Orthodox Christianity and introduce him to, sort of how I see Israel and how I frame it. But you just know that that's the world he lives in. That's the world he's always lived in. Those are his friends in his mind. And probably pretty naive, probably pretty stupid. Hopefully he's not naive. Hopefully it is like a strategic thing where he's just like, look, this is just pragmatic. That is a necessary ally. And so we got to keep them on good terms with us because it's really important for American dominance to have, that ally in that region with that power, and they're all tied in with our Congress. So even trying to untangle ourselves from Israel would be like, a suicide mission for any politician. So it's just like, what are you going to do? Like, it's super easy to critique, politicians for being pro-Israel, but it's super difficult for you to actually run, win, and actually not be like that. All of the best politicians and populist politicians that I've seen in this day and age are all pro-Israel. They're all pro-Israel. It's like it sucks, but it's just the state of the political sphere right now. It's like I don't know what the answer is, but I also don't think it's like really a accurate to just like write it all off as like it's just Israel controls everything. It's just, Bibi Netanyahu is king of the world and that's it, man. Netanyahu just gives the orders and Trump follows. I just don't see that happening. Yeah, Tucker was talking about liberty. Ian Carroll's been talking about USS Liberty. Joe Rogan's talking about Israel. I mean, everybody's talking about Israel now. And I even said before Trump won, I said I suspect that Trump will be less inclined to give Israel everything they want this time because he was even throwing some shade on Israel before the election. Um, you know, so I hope that I'm proven right. It don't look like I'm gonna be, but I hope so. Why won't he release Epstein files, I wonder? I don't think they exist. To be totally honest, I don't think they exist. I don't think that there's a piece of paper anywhere that says Bill Gates slept with this child on this day. All of the video footage is definitely, in the hands of the intelligence agencies that were running that operation and not in the hands of any bureaucracy or any government agency. There's just no way. There's no way that they have a video of all these rich dudes doing the diddle, you know. So I think, I explained this earlier, but I think that when they raided Epstein's stuff, they took all of that material and they stuck it in the trunk of their car and they never wrote up any evidence reports for it. And then they filed every little piece of scrap paper and post-it note in meticulous detail. And so that's probably what the truckload of documents that they gave to Pam Bondi were. Just a bunch of post-it notes and receipts from Costco and just random garbage. And yeah, maybe there's going to be some tidbits in that stuff, but like it's not hard drives. It's not video evidence. So I'm sounding woke right. Yeah, dude, I gotta research woke right. What is woke right again? I remember hearing that for a while and then I heard it explained to me and now I forget what it is. Woke right is like yeah, I don't even remember, dude. I am definitely woke as hell, though. I'm woke as hell, dude. I'm so much woker than you. Point is, I think the critique I have is not that he didn't release the Epstein files. It's just the ham-fisted way that they went about it. They really just handled it like buffoons, and it's also the lack of transparency. The whole thing about the Trump campaign, at least, RFK Jr. had mentioned this, radical transparency, radical transparency. If you're doing the right thing, you got nothing to hide. That seems to be Elon's modus operandi. He seems to be all about wanting to just put everything out there, just, be totally transparent. That's like the kryptonite to the people that we're up against, It's like everything they do is in the darkness. Everything they do only works if people are ignorant of it. So if you're gonna defeat these people, like, put everything out in the spotlight. Hey guys, we wanted to give you the Epstein files. I made an executive order to give them to you. Turns out we were stupid. They didn't actually keep those things. They destroyed them, meaning that they're in somebody's basement somewhere, and they're probably making a lot of money extorting these celebrities and politicians, and we're never going to know. But what's important is to understand that Epstein worked, to gather blackmail on important figures so that they could be controlled in politics, in culture, in Hollywood, in all of these things. And so we as Americans need a cultural shift. These people are not your idols. These people are not your role models. These people are disgusting pedophiles, filth, people who are willing to, willingly submit to blackmail so they can be a part of some club because it means that they get good perks and a higher social standing. These people are disgusting. This is the ingrained structure that we're fighting against. And so I'm sorry we don't have the documents for you, but there you go, American people. State of the Union address. If I were Trump, that would be the first thing I literally did. I would be the first thing. Just full transparency. Hey guys, this is what it is. Instead they didn't, and so they got nobody to blame but themselves. And so it's like, as somebody that's been supporting Trump this whole time, like, I'm not gonna make a freaking excuse for it, dude. I'm not gonna like make some narrative where I try to figure out in my head, oh no, Cash is. It's actually they're trying to get somebody to rat and snitch, and so they're teasing it, but they're not really. But they're gonna release it. So it's like, no, they're not gonna release it. They don't got nothing, and they should be transparent, but they're not. And so screw y'all. Like, I don't know what you think that keeping more of these secrets from the people are, or if you really just think that people are that stupid. And honestly, I think that's probably what it is. I think that Trump is a boomer, and I think I would imagine if you get into that position of power and you have that immense weight of the responsibility of millions of lives in the biggest and most powerful and most important country in the world on your shoulders. Not only that, but you're also being attacked from every angle by the most evil, vile people in the world. You're probably very nervous to like do the wrong thing because like, okay, like, I don't want to create total chaos. I don't want, to destroy the social fabric of our society. Like, so it's probably a little nerve-wracking, and I would imagine that if any of us were in that situation, we probably too would err on the side of just keeping your mouth shut because, as the saints tell us, like, you don't often regret the things you don't say. You typically regret the things you do say, and you stick your foot in your mouth. Whereas if you just stay silent, usually you're fine. You're not crying over it. But in this situation where we're talking about sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, human trafficking, blackmail, it's just so dark. It's so evil. Like, get it out in the light, dude. You guys went out on all the podcast circuit. Sunlight's the best disinfectant, all of this stuff, and then you just continue to treat us like mushrooms, keep us in the dark, and feed us shit. It's just, there's no excuse for it, dude. I understand, and that's why I do try to be fair in my assessment and analysis of Trump, because I think that it's really easy for us to get sort of rabbit holed on specific issues and miss like the reality of what that would be like to be the president. And like, oh my god, like, not only do you have all that responsibility, but you're also aware of like all of the terrible stuff going on, and like you have to directly interact with it. Like, you got to watch all the videos of the soldiers getting blown up and all the horrible stuff going on, all the secret missions going on, all this stuff. It's probably a nightmare. You're spinning a million plates at once. But to my slow boy, little armchair quarterback self, dude, what is more important than this? What is more important than the fact that your political opponents are literally like involved in this mafioso-esque conspiracy? Like, that is the death. That's the death shot for them. Even if you can't, even if you don't have the tapes, even if you don't have the proof, you should still just tell them what you know. Tell the people what you know. We haven't seen one indictment. We haven't seen one charge, one arrest, nothing. Pam Bondi literally goes out there and goes, I demand all the documents give me the documents per the order of the president. And then they literally go, here you go, here's all the documents. And she goes, are these all the documents? And they go, yep, these are all of them. They lied to her face. And what did she do? You're fired. Go home, pack your stuff. You only get 9 months severance. I don't know if they gave him severance, but she's like, they've been fired. It's like, what? So they got off scot-free. I don't think that they were planning on working in the Trump FBI. I'm pretty sure they just did the job that they were there to do, and they would have left anyways. So like, wow, good. That'll teach them. That'll teach them for committing treason. In my mind, that seems like an obvious like you're 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 literally fighting on the enemy side of the country that you're supposed to be serving. So you fired him. Good job, Pan. This is why I'm so glad we have a strong, independent woman running the Department of Justice.